You might be wondering where I am. Well, stay tuned because this is another episode of the Wonderful Alberni Valley Experience. It is the 11th of May and the weather is beautiful here. And I am in the beautiful company of Michael and Corrine Moore in the Alberni Valley Maker Space here on 3rd Avenue. And we're going to be talking about this wonderful place. I feel like I'm a little kid in a candy store.
You know, it's kind of fun, right? You know, so many
yeah.
things to do, so many different experiences that you can have here at the Makerspace. It is an absolute joy to have you down here. Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for having us, and thank you for agreeing to do the interview. So the Alberni Valley Maker Space is the brainchild of Mr. Moore. And so, of course, fully supported by Mrs. Moore.
Yes, well, my chief responsibilities include making sure he's fed and watered, and also just being moral support. And I'm just so thrilled to see it come to this place because it's been a labor of love for many years, and it's also very heartwarming because it creates a space for kids like ours who maybe doesn't fit into the mold of, you know, normal sports or things like that. So it's really wonderful, and I'm very proud of him.
Oh, and that's so wonderful to hear. So before I go to Michael, I would like to go to you first, Corrine. Like, you saw him, like, conceptualize this whole thing and put this whole thing together and build it up from the ground up. What was your view on this whole thing? Like, when he had the idea, he came to you, obviously he told you about this thing, or did he?
Well, no, it was, I remember it being because there wasn't a place like this. And when we came from Vancouver, there was a lot of influences that he was referring to that were like the Vancouver Hacker Space or, you know, the others just having more opportunities and having more opportunities for creativity, I guess is what I'm looking, I think what was missing. And I think that my initial reaction was, that's a great idea. You should definitely start that. I think that as, you know, as years and years went on and how different things came up, I could just see that this was the right thing to do for him and for the community. So I was definitely always very, very on board with it and supporting however I could. I mean, I'm limited technically. I'm not as well versed in all of the things that are involved, but I just think that it's so great to see. And to see like-minded people coming and stepping up and volunteering and a community growing here. And, you know, there's geek pride, and it's awesome to see that. And
no, I love it here. The people here are so artistic and creative. So let's go to the creator of the Makerspace.
Okay, so
how did it all start first? Tell me how it all began.
No pressure. Okay, so a few things. First, this space doesn't exist just because of me. It exists because of all of the wonderful people who have helped me build it.
Okay.
We have a fantastic board, as the Makerspace is a not-for-profit society. We have a fantastic board. That board has been together through thick and thin, through COVID, through not having a space, to finding
How many members of the board are there?
So right now there's 5 members on the board.
And you're included, or you're the executive director?
I am the executive. Okay. So we have persevered through the most challenging time to try to start a space like this.
And it's a wonderful space.
It is. Next up is maker spaces are all over North America.
Okay.
They're utilized in communities as economic development
Yeah, so
hubs.
can you speak to us about the history of the Makerspace concept?
A Makerspace concept is Makerspace is essentially is a community resource center where we give access to tools, knowledge, and mentorship to help people build and create. So makers
Build and create Anything under the
they can
sun.
think
Okay.
of, right? So whether or not it's sewing to 3D printing, electronics to soap making,
Okay.
what you can think of it, we can probably try to put a class together,
Okay.
right?
It's like,
And
God. On the first day, this was
Well,
created. On the
this
second
is-
day, this was created.
we're running in some special circles.
Okay.
So no, the making has been around forever. My grandparents were makers. They
Okay.
didn't call it making then. It was homesteading, or it was, just being frugal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you were learning how to can or you fixed your own equipment, you
Very
were
interesting,
making,
yes.
right? But the idea of making in a modern context is the idea of creation. What makes you happy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Humans should create. We should make things.
That's one of our two powers: the power to create and the power to choose.
There we go. And having a space where you can come and learn new skills is an invaluable resource to a community, right? Not only does it bring more knowledge and more innovation and more technology and all these other modern fabrication ideas, but what it does is it brings people together in a community setting so that my knowledge is shared with you and your knowledge is shared with me. And this is the fundamental core of what a makerspace is there for. So we exist with our members. Our members exist because we exist.
Okay, so how many members do you have now?
So right now, our online membership profile just broke 900.
Wow! I want to be a member. Where do I go?
If you want to become a member, the Alberni Valley Makerspace.ca
Okay.
or Alberni Makerspace.ca is the website where you can find out all the information about the
Okay.
space. But to sign up as a member, you must come into the space and do that because we have to give you a safety orientation.
Oh, okay.
We have to explain to you the equipment. And then we also have, due to certain unforeseen needs, we have an insurance waiver that you need to sign.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because we have mixed use tools here. So we have laser cutters and CNC machines and 3D printers and electronics and screwdrivers and saws and all this kind of stuff. Inevitably, my insurance company requires me to get people to agree
Okay.
that they'll be safe.
Okay.
Yeah. So
they won't sue
down-
you.
Exactly. That's actually one of the things on the waiver.
Okay.
Please don't sue us. So and memberships
At least
are
you said
open.
please.
Yes. Memberships are open for 16 and older without adult supervision. Anybody between the ages of 8 and 16 require adult supervision. Our youngest makers are for classroom.
When you say adult supervision, it does not necessarily mean it's their parents.
It does not mean to be parents. People live in all sorts of different situations. So whether or not,
As long as it's an adult.
as long as it's an adult and it is an adult that is willing to care for
And
that
not
person.
necessarily related.
Doesn't necessarily
It has
need
to be an adult.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Just like
And that's
driving.
when all that happens is they come in and they sign off on it, and then that maker works with them.
Okay.
So, and it really is. We are not a daycare facility,
No.
right?
Definitely.
We want to encourage parents and kids to make together. Because it creates such an
That is a
amazing
great,
bond.
yeah, that's a great
Right?
experience.
When you've got a mom and a daughter, or a mom and a son, and a son and a father, whatever it happens to be, right? Working together on a project and coming to a successful conclusion out of it is building Legos or making a 3D print. It's fantastic, right?
That's so wonderful.
And it's a thing that we really push here is that kind of idea of people working together, whether or not it's your neighbor or it's somebody you're related to.
Oh, okay. So, Corrine,
I just wanted
please
to
weigh
add,
in.
so there's little surprise blind boxes that are little treats or surprises for some of the members or makers who come if they're working on projects. And I just wanted to say that was a project that my son and I worked on, and it was so therapeutic because we got to color and design these boxes, which were just plain boxes made out of recycled paper. So I think that there's also the piece of it feels so good to know that we're reusing so much materials that are being repurposed. And also it was so therapeutic just to channel my inner child and use the crayons and draw flowers on these
Color
boxes.
out of the lines.
And color out of the lines, absolutely, yes.
So you have a son or one son?
Yes, our son, yes.
Okay, and he's 10 years old.
11,
Oh, he's
Oh,
11 now, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
I-
The red
we'll have to edit
tornado
that
is,
in the other part.
yes.
Fine.
Yeah, we call him the red tornado. Yeah.
Why? Why? What's the story behind that?
Well, his hair is flaming red.
Oh, really?
And he's a very busy little man.
And he
he's,
doesn't stand still.
He doesn't stand still. He's
Well, he's a kid.
always
He's
got
a
to be
boy.
moving.
Yeah, that's
You should be worried if he stands still.
yeah. No, he's Flynn is Valley famous.
Yes.
For his energy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
And
he's
his
11
red
years
hair.
old.
And his
Yes,
red hair,
yes,
yes.
and
Is
his
it
red
natural red hair?
Yes, it's
Oh, wow.
Yes.
yeah. It was a shock to both of us.
Yes. Evidently, there's
didn't know we
redheads
had-
in our family genetically. So
Maybe some of the electronics or.
It
Got
could be. It
into
could be.
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I worked quite a while in the security and computer industry. I often tell my boss that I used to have eyesight, I used to have hair, I used to have a lot of things. Then 20 years later, I don't have those things.
It's never too late to call a plumber to retrieve your hair
Yes.
from the sink.
Not even want to get involved. We just had him come by. A wonderful plumber. Spent 4 days at my house.
yes.
Good.
Shout out to Tilly.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, no, this space here was.
So how long has this space been going on?
Okay, so officially the Makerspace is opened March of this year.
Okay.
Was our first weekend of March was our opening weekend.
Oh, cool.
I originally started putting this idea together in the Valley in 2015. We attempted to do it in one location. It was a fantastic location, great support from the owner of the building. Unfortunately, just we wouldn't be able to have accommodated the people, and the location didn't meet the needs of the city.
No, I see.
And then so as that fell through, the ACRD was fantastic in their support and
wow.
offers us this space. And shout out to the ACRD, thank you very much. They have been hugely supportive, and as a not-for-profit society, we've had access to the space. Now, the flip side to that was that the space had nothing in it.
Okay.
There were no
So you had
walls.
to build from the
There were
ground
no
up.
walls. There were no drywall. There
Really?
was no light. There was no power. There was no bathroom. There was no nothing. And we rented it. We started renting it January before COVID.
Oh, okay.
So January, February,
And then suddenly
March
COVID
15th.
happened.
March 15th, and the world ended.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For a while.
For a while. It came back.
Yeah.
But
Thank God.
Yeah. But it was really kind of touch and go there. Nobody wanted to do community centers anymore, right? We became quickly out of fashion.
I'm curious about something because we touched on this a while ago. The concept of a makerspace originated from where?
So concept of makerspace is developed more in denser urban centers where we don't have access to large workspaces. So imagine you're
In
living...
what country though? Like Canada?
Oh, Canada and the United States.
Okay.
Right? So in the United States is probably, I'd say, the foundational era of it.
So what do you call the concept of a makerspace?
A makerspace. It's just
Okay.
a space for makers. Just a euphemism. And the idea of makerspace is that they're intended to be a not-for-profit environment.
Yes.
Right? There's other places, maybe called Fab Labs, or have other names associated with them, and some of those are built for profit. Our particular version of it is a not-for-profit society, because I personally believe that while I've built this, it is the community's to enjoy. Right? I would love to work and do this as a job, but the reality is whatever's better for the space and the community is what drives this forward.
Well, we can work on getting both.
That was the end goal.
That's the long-term goal.
But yeah, so for me, this is my.
Do you have any idea who started the whole concept?
No,
in the
there's,
United States or Canada?
it could be argued that there's several people. There's several people who are kind of the grandfathers or the
founding fathers.
the conceptual leaders of it. One of the most famous ones is a person named Adam Savage. So
Okay.
Adam Savage had a TV show on Discovery called Mythbusters.
Okay, yeah, I know
right?
Mythbusters.
So Mythbusters, he was the redheaded Mythbuster. He used to work at ILM, or Industrial Light and Magic, which is
We're gonna have
George
our
Schultz.
own Canadian version of Mythbusters.
Yeah, well, exactly. When he's a little bit older, we'll bring him in. But yeah, no. So Adam Savage is a huge maker, or a huge person in the maker community. He's the kind of guy who will go out and make and build things from scratch. He did it for George Lucas when working on things like Star Wars and all these other ones. Yeah. And then there's other makers on the East Coast, things like Jimmy DiResta. So Jimmy DiResta is a New York-based maker. He is
He was a toy designer,
he was a
wasn't
toy designer
Yeah.
originally. And then when YouTube kind of started off, he started making videos on YouTube. And he was one of the first big name makers on YouTube. And then he spun that off to have his own Netflix show for a little while. And he's got a couple other shows that he works on as well.
Ooh, we'll get there.
Yes. The Alberni Valley has actually got connections to Mr. DiResta. We have some of the people who work in kind of that circle of influence or influencers. Port Alberni's been a draw for some of these kind of creative makers. We have an amazing wealth of builders and creators in the valley that are world famous that we don't even know that live here.
Oh, wow. So thinking of live here, are you originally from Port Alberni?
I am. I was born and raised here,
And that's what brought him here.
well, coincidentally, we met on the mainland, but he was born here. But he left when he was rather
away.
young.
I moved away, then, yeah.
But we had that
Came back,
moment,
like most people.
right? Well, we both just made that decision because it was a no-brainer after we had our son to come back to the
Yeah, we moved
community.
here in 2014,
2013.
2013, 2014.
Just a few years ahead of me. I moved here 2015.
Well, that's way real. And houses were affordable,
yeah.
and the community was kind of in the infancy of a rebuilding process. And it has been an extremely eye-opening event having a space like this, which draws people together, is that there's a lot of people that are moving from out of town to the valley and are looking for things like this because they recognize them from where they're moving from. So whether or not it was Nanaimo or Vancouver or Toronto or wherever, when they look at a place to live, they're looking for, well, where's your makerspace? Do you have a makerspace? Because they see it or recognize it as a community structure or a community
That's amazing.
place.
And I'm so glad this is now part of, Alberni Valley Makerspace is a very beautiful part of the wonderful Alberni Valley Experience. Thanks to you and you.
Thank you, Don.
Michael and Corrine. Even me, I feel like, there's more to experience and more to learn. That's another integral part of this whole makerspace concept, the learning, right?
Oh, yeah. So one of the things we found very early on when we opened up the space was that it can't be done by itself. So I've had a wonderful person assisting me, and she has been helping with me doing volunteer coordination. We're doing a big volunteer coordination drive here towards the end of May, and we'll hopefully get some more volunteers on board, which will alleviate myself to be able to start to offer some of these classes. And the classes that we're probably going to start off with are things like a super science Saturday and Sunday for kids.
That sounds
so the kids
exciting.
can come down and we'll make slime and oobleck and
volcanoes.
we'll blow
vinegar and
stuff
soda.
up. Oh, it'll be just a mess. It'll be
Mentos,
wonderful.
Pepsi.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We'll go home sticky and full of new knowledge.
Colorful.
Yes,
And
and colorful. And in the evenings, we'll do things like a class on ChatGPT or a class on electronics or soldering, making your own D&D minifigures or
With 3D printers.
or 3D printing, right, with laser cutting or whatever it happens to be that the adults are interested in learning something about. Soap making. I have a couple of people who've asked me repeatedly to make soap. And I don't know how to make soap. I want to take that class. I'm like, host
There
the
you
class.
go.
That'll be a wonderful opportunity. So we'll be able to transition to a little bit more classes over the summer.
Okay, so you mentioned the support that you got from ACRD, and by and large, with a 900 membership, you obviously have growing community support. Now I'm curious, it might be a touchy subject. How are we in terms of local government support from the city?
Obviously, we would love for the city of Port Alberni to be involved with the Makerspace. We look forward to engaging with the city on a number of different projects, whether it's plastics recycling or the city's Blue Ocean Initiative. But we also look at it as an economic development benefit to the city. So we offer office spaces that provide resources for people to start fostering their own small business. So when you're taking your small business from home and you want to build it out, to take it out of your home to start to build it into the community, we offer kind of that launch pad for you.
Okay.
And the city of Port Alberni has, we've built it. We'll see if they come.
Okay. Well, That will be maybe another episode.
Yeah, a follow-up.
I'll invite the city council and the mayor.
Oh, I
talk
would
about
love-
it.
we've had a couple of city councilors come down.
Okay. Has Cindy been here?
Cindy
City
has,
council, city soul.
Madame
Maybe we
Sola
can-
has not made it down
We'll
yet.
have to
Well,
invite her
we'll have to have
down.
wine here
Yes.
one of these
There we go.
We could have a wine night. That could definitely.
Dustin,
Because, you know, Cindy's involved with the theater and, you know, the
Yes.
creative people, we should come together.
Council of
Right.
Dame has been fantastic. He helped us with our logo, and has been his son has used the space a couple of times.
Okay.
And former Mayor Douglas, Councillor Douglas, has donated some stools
Okay.
and stopped by and checked out the space. And so it is hard because we're not in the business of advertising. I'm not going to force anybody to come down, but I definitely would love to see them all down.
Okay. Well, we can make arrangements.
And currently the hours are Friday evenings,
Mm-hmm.
4 till 9, and then Saturday and Sunday 10 till 9. So,
Okay. So it's not a daily thing just
No,
yet.
well,
just yet.
I have a full-time, regular 9 to 5 job.
No, we have to reserve one day for, you know, the W.A.V.E and our other productions.
Absolutely, yes. Well, that'll be our Wednesdays.
We are going to be on talks and developing other stuff, creating.
Yes.
All right.
Well, that's a prime example, Don. If you think about it, your skill set in putting together a show, interviewing people, learning the methodology of communication, that's a class in itself. And there's tons of people out there who want to produce or create their own content, just don't know how to get started.
Oh,
And
okay.
you are a content creator.
Yes, I am.
So you could host a class on
That's
content
plastered on my
creation.
wall. My mission statement is to be an influential content creator.
But this is it.
Exactly.
Run a class on how you're getting to that point.
Yes.
Right? You don't
absolutely.
necessarily need to be you don't need to have stand there with your Academy Award. It's your
Yet.
but you're teaching the
I'm
process.
working on it.
But you're teaching the process and learning going through all those things.
Mm-hmm.
What I've learned just having a society, right?
Yes.
Building a space. Heck, I could run a class on that, on how to negotiate development permits and building permits and all these other kind of things, and run a society. I didn't know how, I just wanted a space to go and make stuff. So,
I just wanted a clubhouse.
yeah.
A playhouse.
That was really
Pretty
what it
much a
started at. I was
playhouse,
like,
yeah.
I just want a place to go hang out. I don't want to go to a bar. Why don't we build something else? So,
Yeah, that's wonderful.
yeah.
And
Okay,
word
so-
of mouth is definitely getting out there. I've
Oh,
noticed
yeah.
out in the community. And
Well, when
so-
this airs,
and we look forward to seeing more
I
people
know I said I
based
didn't
on this.
advertise, and then all of a sudden I'm doing this. And I'm like, kind of feel like maybe I'm breaking my own rules.
well, we're not advertising. We are
No.
presenting.
Presenting.
There you go.
There we go. So, but yeah, no, we're going to expand out our hours. Actually, a couple of people are very eager to get us opened on Thursdays, and that's part of their volunteering conditions. So you might not see me every night, but you'll definitely see me over the weekends going forward. And then yeah, as we ramp up classes, I think that's going to be the deciding factor. Once we start introducing class times, more and more people
Oh yeah.
are going to be
Definitely.
very interested in coming down and being like, oh, what can I? Because we not only do our members benefit from a class, the community the community benefits from the class because whoever's running that class has an economic benefit to them because they can. We're obviously not asking people to teach for free. We want them to benefit. We want people who are taking part in those classes to have a discount and being members for Makerspace. We want people that aren't members of the Makerspace to be able to have access to those classes.
Yes.
But you know, it definitely it's one of those situations where there are plenty of opportunities for people to learn here in the Valley, and we're encouraging like other businesses and other people to run programs and classes here as well.
That's very good. So I just want to clarify the timeline. So the organization, Alberni Valley Maker Space, as a nonprofit organization,
Yes.
came together when?
2015 is when we officially started our charter.
2015.
Yeah.
And then this space, this actual space, came together in
2023.
2023.
Oh, okay. Yes,
Official
March.
opening
Yeah.
this past
Official
March.
opening. But you were already
We
building,
spent about 2.5 years pandemic-y trying to
like putting things
negotiate.
together.
It's really hard to hang a sheet of drywall that's 8 foot long when you're supposed to have 6 feet of social distancing.
Oh yeah. Well, kudos to you for building.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
in spite of
it was definitely last summer I was in this space painting. It was 40 degrees. And I stripped down to my skivvies with a respirator on and a paint sprayer on stilts trying to paint the 30-foot ceilings
Oh my goodness.
and
Yeah.
walls. It was, at that point, I didn't know if we were ever going to pull it off. We worked wonderfully with both the ACRD and the city on sorting out a development permit and then again transitioning that into a business license. Because this is a concept, once again, it's new to the valley.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you get a business license for something that's not been done before? How do
But
you
you're nonprofit.
We are, but we need
You still need a.
well, you need an operator's license,
Oh, okay.
right? So we have public in the space. I need to
So
be
you're a
sure.
business as a nonprofit.
Well,
and that
no,
needs a license.
So it's in the city's eyes. There are anytime you have access to a space, I need an operating license,
Oh,
which
okay.
is quantifiably a business license because they want to make sure the place is safe.
Of course.
We have to
Right.
meet certain standards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we the stairs have to be the right height. The handrail has to be the certain height.
In fire inspection.
You got it. We got more fire extinguishers than the fire department.
Well, they don't have fire extinguishers. They have fire hoses.
Don't ruin it for me. That's a good line.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. Okay, so we know the past, which
Yes.
is COVID.
Yes.
We know the present, which began in March of 2023. What is the future?
Oh, so if we look at the future of the Alberni Valley, it is anybody's guess. But our hope is that the Alberni Valley is looking to diversify itself economically,
Okay.
right?
I'm going to rephrase the question then to be more relevant. What is the vision?
Vision. The vision
There
is to
you
have a
go.
30,000 square foot center of excellence as a makerspace.
Yeah, that was my
Built around
my dream. That's what my
Yes.
vision.
All
That's my
right.
dream.
Around it is built a wondrous community of small businesses that utilize the tools and resources that the Makerspace offers for fabrication and production of their own small business needs. So whether or not it's an art studio or if it's a
Seamstresses,
seamstress,
soap makers.
you got it, right? And all these different organizations can utilize the tools and resources of a makerspace to then benefit themselves and then bring it to their customers.
That is so wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you, Michael. Thank
My
you,
pleasure.
Corrine,
Thank you.
for adding
Absolutely.
for being an addition to the wonderful Alberni Valley Experience. If you need more information about the Alberni Valley Makerspace, check out the links that we're going to be posting on this episode down below the screen or whatever. And we will catch you next time on the way. Oh, before that, we did a tour and we're going to show you the tour right after this. I'm here with a husband and wife team, creative team of Michael and Corrine Moore, and we're going to get a tour of what we call the Alberni Valley Makerspace, which is a wonderful space. Okay, let's
Awesome.
go on a tour.
Come on.
All right.
After you.
So the first room we have here is going to be our electronics room. So this electronics room is specifically designed so that people can come in, whether or not it's kids or adults. And we have 6 coding workstations. So each one of these workstations has a coding suite, so kids can learn. So it's developed for kids by MIT. So programming or coding.
Okay.
And each one of these has software suites available for kids and adults. In addition to that, what we have is an electronics workstation area here on this side. So this
Oh.
allows people to come in, say you have a problem with your phone or a piece of electronics at home, you can come in and you can use our equipment and it'll allow you to
Ooh,
do things
cool.
like, you know, look at what the individual pieces or components of it.
Wow, look at that.
We have oscilloscopes and electronics troubleshooting equipment to allow you to learn about the hardware. Now, one
Hey,
of
look
the
at that,
things.
Colton. Now I can have my 65-inch color TV that just zonked out on me.
Oh no, yeah, that's exactly the
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah, that's-
I'll even show you some of
Okay.
the examples.
Okay, cool.
So
Perfect.
one of the things still really important about this kind of space is that we're here to help you learn. We're not here to do the work for you.
Okay.
Right?
If I pay you.
Yeah, no, we
I'm
are
used to paying
working.
people to do stuff.
We're
for
working
me.
on a program called Hire a Maker.
Oh, okay.
Right, which is a very popular thing because some people are just too busy, right?
yeah.
You have a lot of hobbies, you have a lot of other professional obligations that you need to get it done. You can't just do everything. So we're working on a program called Hire a Maker,
Ooh.
which then will take people from our community and allow them to then you get access to their kind of resources and
All
knowledge.
right. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, our next room we're going to go over to is fabrication.
So what's this room called again?
This is electronics.
The
and
electronics
coding.
room. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, electronics and coding. Programming. There you go.
There it is.
Okay, so after the electronics programming / coding room,
Yes.
we are going to
We are
the
going to fabrication and 3D printing.
fabrication- Oh, 3D printing.
I know, right?
So,
This is our 3D printing lab.
Mm.
So 3D printing is a fantastic resource, right?
Okay.
We have people that are doing 3D printing for toys. This is a 3D printed
oh,
toy.
this is on here?
Yeah,
Cool.
right. And I'm not sure what the character is because it's not really important if I know.
Looks like my character.
Exactly. Oh, actually, there we go.
Right, see?
You could print.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a D2BQ
There you
figurine
go.
or something.
And we have other toys.
Oh, everything's
right?
coming together.
See, we have toys where you can actually print them
Oh, wow.
and they'll actually do things. But I also have people come in here and want to use these for commercial processes.
Oh,
So I
okay.
have people coming in and they're making gears or doing other kind of industrial fabrication. And instead of spending the time and resources fabricating and sending it off to be worked on, they can come here and we can quickly print them a copy of what they think they want.
I like this piece.
Yeah.
This one here.
This one here is fantastic. This is actually
Beautiful.
printed.
If only it was blue.
So this is printed.
Oh, what's that?
with
You're
rubber.
crumpling it. Oh, wow. Look at that.
So you can squeeze it,
crumple
it'll
it,
just crumple it up, and it'll come spring back to shape. So we actually use this for all of our
Oh,
door
cool.
stops in the space. So when the
Okay.
doors open up and they don't bump
That's
into
so
each other.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and we have different types of printers, right? So that's the finer rubbery plastic that prints
Okay.
out here, and then this is the more rigid stuff. So I have a young gentleman who's printing right now. He needed a part for a speaker. So
Okay.
I printed him a part for his speaker, and he's going to help finish building his speakers off. And this is a thing that lets the sound travel out of the speaker and gives it its volume,
Oh, I see.
right? And that just printed sitting right there, and that was it.
So, how does it begin though? Like, I get a flat image, like a 2D image?
So 3D printing starts with a model, right?
okay.
And when we talked about before,
like
the hire a maker.
duplicate or something.
Yeah, and there's tons of websites that have tons of resources available where people can download those models and share
Okay.
and create them. So we
Or
utilize.
I can just bring in something like my ring or something like that.
Yes, so we're actually looking to purchase ourselves a 3D scanner.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, think of it as like a chamber and it has a lot of little cameras around
okay,
it,
okay.
or it's a turntable that has a laser that shines against it, and it captures the difference in size and shape, and then it makes a 3D model from that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, on top of all of this, so fabrication in this room starts with 3D printing. Then we move on to things like laser cutting. So laser cutting is a resource that lets us create all sorts of wonderful things. So if you look behind you there, Don, you'll see
Wow.
these are laser cut earrings that we're working on. So if you take one of these,
I'm excited about this.
right?
This one I like. Look at that.
Right? So they're very delicate.
Oh, they're
But laser cutting, right? Laser cutting, we
That's a
can
big deal.
from this delicate piece, right? What we can do is we can take this and make another project afterwards. So at the with the laser cutter, we take this, we cut out our first piece, and now we can move into jewelry making.
Oh,
Now we can
okay.
move from this, we can move into resin pouring.
So how does it start though? You have a pattern?
Yes, so this comes as well from say from a website or a design that you bring in, and we
Okay.
can then custom make the program that tells the laser where to move on the bed.
Oh, okay. Like for example, I want a 3D.
Do you have a flat picture of that?
Yes.
We could totally laser cut that onto things.
Oh, okay.
Right?
But not 3D
now, we
printed
could,
yet.
We could 3D print it as well, but it would take a little bit more design work.
Oh, okay.
Right? Got to think from one two-dimensional model where I'm telling it to move around and carve out to a three-dimensional model requires a little bit more extra
What would it
zhuzh.
require? Like more sketching, more artwork?
Just more time.
Oh, okay.
It's just more time to design it. So
I will be back.
there we go.
Okay.
In addition to the fabrication, we actually have a whole bunch of other equipment and parts and craft supplies. Because you come in and you wanted to say make a wonderful Mother's Day card or something for your friend or whatever, you'll have to have the supplies to do it. And at the Makerspace, we try to have as many different supplies as you can,
Oh, beautiful.
right? Because when you become a member of the
Well, there's
Makerspace,
something I like. Glitter and
Yes.
sequins.
so this includes things like this. Maybe later, we'll actually get around to using this today. This is our button maker.
Oh, button maker.
By far one of our most popular pieces of equipment. and it lets
Oh,
you
those
make.
buttons. I thought you
I'm
said
telling
little
no, not that kind of button. But
Yeah,
this is kind
these
of
are better.
makes these kind of buttons. So you can come in, you can come with a custom design if you wanted to have the W.A.V.E logo
or
on
rear
there.
view mirror. Or,
Right? Yeah, exactly. So
Wow, this is a great resource. I'm glad I came here.
sewing machines, if you wanted to do a little bit of work. I have 4 seamstresses that come in on a fairly regular basis.
Okay.
And they just, they like the big space, they like the wide open tables.
Oh, I should let my mom. My mom loves to sew.
This is what I'm saying. So
All right.
the woodworking space, it's kind of self-explanatory. This is a space where you can get a little dusty, a little dirty. This is also the space where a lot of this stuff will, potentially hurt and or maim. So this particular room, we have all sorts of safety precautions outside. You have to have eye protection, ear protection. You have to go through a safety orientation before any of the equipment in this space can be used. And you have to be 16 or older to work in this space without direct adult supervision.
All right.
So this is one of our primary new pieces of equipment. This is called a CNC machine.
CNC.
Right.
So what does CNC is
computer pneumatic controller.
Okay.
So this will let you carve out anything that your heart can desire out of wood.
Okay.
Right? You can make furniture out of this. Think
Oh,
flat
really?
packed furniture. But yeah, so this machine here will let us do and make things on a larger scale and more commercially. So there's actually even a couple of businesses in town, not to drop names, that have asked if they can use this particular machine so that they can increase, say, production runs or anything like that.
Or even furniture repair.
This is
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Right?
Perfect.
So all my cabinets in my kitchen were made like this.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So if we come through here,
More interesting. Okay. And
this
this
room.
is
Oh, this is a mess.
this is the junk pile.
This is
The
what it looks like.
e-waste?
This is what it looks like, right?
All right.
So e-waste
Okay.
is a concern that every community has. So we take all this electronics, all these consumables we buy every day, and when they don't work or we buy something new or better, we just take that old thing and we take it down to the recycling depot, and we think, oh, our problems have been solved. I've recycled it. Reality is that electronics recycling doesn't happen here. It happens overseas.
Really?
And the reason it happens overseas for the most part is because environmental regulations here prevent economical recycling of electronics.
Oh.
So what we're trying to do here is change that model. Not so much by recycling and harvesting out the electronics components, but recycling by reinvigorating the product.
Okay.
So your TV that turns off, as you mentioned, well,
No, it just doesn't run.
doesn't run.
Like it'll turn on and it'll come out and then the blue screen and it'll just like it does this booting sequence and it stays there for forever.
So what are you going to do with it? You're going to end up taking it down to the recycling depot.
I was going to, but I'm
now
not taking
you're
it here.
taking the Makerspace.
I'm bringing it to
There
Alberni
we
Valley
are.
Makerspace.
So, but that's the whole idea, though, right? Because that would end up in the recycling depot. And the reality is that so
I was about to actually
so
just
somebody
chuck
who
it.
has a little bit more skill, right, or knowledge about that might be able to help you go through the process of troubleshooting it
Perfect.
and say, hey, you know what? It's going to cost you $10 worth of components. Why don't we fix it?
Yeah.
And like that's way better deal, right?
Wow.
In addition to this, parts and stuff that we can't save. Say we couldn't save your TV. It doesn't mean it's still dead, anyways. Inside of that TV are a ton of components that we can use for other projects. So things like these old
Well, I
printers.
saw a guy on YouTube. He made his TV was busted, so he just took off the screen or something and made it a nice backlight.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. These old printers are a prime example. Printers, ink runs out.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Right? You
Buy
buy
new-
new ink.
Yeah.
Well, that's so expensive. It's almost the price of the printer.
Exactly.
So the printer ends up going into the recycling depot. So what we do is we take the motors out of these printers, right? And those motors can then be used to make little robots and cars and other things
Oh, you
for
repurpose
kids.
them. Yeah, cool.
You got it, right? So
And
that's
artwork, because I've seen that as
the
well. We're
artwork.
gonna
Yes,
get to
we'll
that.
get
We're
to
gonna
that
get
one
to
too.
that.
So let's go off to the next
All
room
right.
here. So speaking to the hardware components that we were talking about earlier, right? This is kind of one of these areas where kids come in, and oftentimes these kids have never seen the inside of some of these electronics. So what Makerspace really prides itself on is a non-destructive dismantling project.
Okay.
So-
These are hard drives, right?
These are hard drives.
Okay.
So
I know
what we
that,
do
that
is
much.
our young maker comes in and they're presented with a box of screwdrivers. They're presented with a
very-
hard drive, and they're presented with a picture of what's inside the hard drive.
Okay.
Right? So what we do is we work with the child or maker, and we go through the process of taking all the screws out and sorting them into their right spots, Then when
Okay.
we get inside the hard drive, we talk about the components we see in here, right? So that's the platter, that's the head reader. There's a magnet underneath there.
Okay.
Why do they exist? What do
And
they
there's
do?
a motor? Is there a
There's-
motor?
Well, it is kind of. So inside each of these devices, there's a hub, and this thing spins around. And inside there's, just like inside of a power drill, it's brushes.
Oh, okay.
So it's powered, and that little motor will spin around and run. Just, you know, like the...
So what is the component in the hard drive that reads the data
so
from the disk? This is the disk,
this
right?
is the platter, the disk. So all your data lives on here.
And a hard drive has like multiple disks inside of it.
It can have multiple disks inside of it. But this is the head that then rests on top of there.
Oh,
it
it's
moves
like
them back
a
and forth.
phonograph.
Like a record player.
Yeah, record player.
So this sits between two magnets because it needs to be super fast.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
And what we do is, with that, we harvest the magnets, because this is my favorite part.
So the magnets propel the spinning?
The magnets don't propel the spinning, they hold the head of the needle
All right.
perfectly level. So if you try to pull those two magnets apart, they're
Oh,
devilishly,
these are two magnets?
Yeah.
Holy wow.
right? They are devilishly
Okay.
powerful magnets. So you think about it, you need that much
Wow.
power to keep this
I could
floating.
use this as my name tag at work because
Yes.
my name tag keeps falling on.
But yeah, so those, basically what happens here is after they've broken down all their components, they can take the magnets home. Some of the kids take the platter home with them. Doesn't matter. What we use it for at the Makerspace is we use them for arts and crafts projects.
Okay.
Because this
Very good.
is, as you were saying about shining
Your
things.
magnets and your buttons together, you're
Oh,
cooking.
these will make a fantastic shiny art project. We're going to have enough of these soon that we're
A
going to
shiny wall.
do the one of the posts here in the
Oh,
space, right? And decorate it with these.
Are these metal?
They're a
plastic?
metal alloyed, and then they're covered with platinum.
Oh, platinum.
It's 1 or 2 atoms thick of platinum.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not enough to be worthwhile to harvest,
Okay.
but it's.
What about copper?
It sounds lovely though, doesn't
Copper
it?
is a precious metal nowadays. Is there enough copper? To...
No, well that's the
No.
thing. So when the recycling goes overseas, they basically can just light the pile on fire and extract out all the precious metals out of it.
Oh, okay.
Horrible. You can look it up on YouTube, video after video of horrible ways that we.
So I'm curious now. How did you accumulate all this stuff? Like,
So donations. So if you bring
Okay.
your TV down and you're like, this thing doesn't work, it's either going downstairs or it's coming up to you,
okay.
right? And we go, well, thank you very much. We'll take it. We'll take a look at it. We'll see what we can do with it. You have an old computer at home you haven't used for a little while because the iPad's been so much easier. People
No, I
bring
have an
their
old
com-
iPad that I want to just get rid of.
Oh,
'cause
we would
it's
love it.
outdated. I mean, that's
Think
what I
about
don't
the
like
kid
with,
that can't
with that
afford an
brand.
iPad.
Oh, okay.
That somebody who doesn't have access to it oftentimes just wants to be able to experience the technology so they're not feeling left behind.
Okay.
Right? And whether or not it's updated or it's 100% the most newest, latest, and greatest, it's the experience. Also, we can use it in a classroom setting here to help users move their way through a classroom. So if somebody say they don't want to sit at that computer, maybe they have issues with being around other people, and they just want to be by themselves. Well, you know what? Here's an iPad. Here's the same SketchUp program or the same programming language program. You can just sit there quietly and you can do your work there.
Oh, cool. Very
Right?
nice.
So it's the ability for us to give more resources to people. So these are some of the projects that I've built.
So these are.
Well, this
chips,
is memory
right?
pieces. Yeah.
Memory pieces.
So this was here. We use these because these are out of date and we can't use them for anything. Nobody wants them. So instead of throwing it out,
What do you mean? What isn't that RAM?
it is RAM, but it's out of date RAM.
Oh, okay.
So nobody would have a computer that would
gigabyte RAM or
try like
64
try like
MB RAM.
128 megs.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So
that is
like
so-
an eighth of a gig of memory. So yeah, this is
From the
this
XT
is
computers.
yeah, this is like this. You were in high school when this memory was popular.
maybe,
There we go.
or maybe it was working. On it. I don't know.
So these are some of the projects I've worked on. So this is laser cut,
Okay.
right? And this is laser.
Is this wood?
No, that's cardboard. That's an Amazon box.
wow.
So you can take an
Really?
Amazon box. You can, after you're
That
done with all
is
the wonderful things,
amazing.
and you can make
Yeah.
something cool out of it. These are electronics projects.
So this is cardboard laser cut
Yes.
in that other room,
Yeah, that was on that
and
laser
then
cutter.
you just glue it together.
It comes together like a puzzle.
Oh, okay, like a Lego kind of thing.
Kind of like that, yeah, but it's like all individual pieces. So my son is in French immersion, and he has a project due. So he helped me put this together. That was the deal. Well, he can't put it out as his project if I do all the work.
Yeah,
that would be
definitely.
unethical, right?
Yeah.
So I did the laser cutting because he's not old enough to do that right now, or just doesn't have the attention span for it. And then I brought
how
it
old is
home. He's 10, right? So it's kind of one of those.
Same with 20-year-olds.
It'd be very. It's
How
almost
old are
exactly.
you? Okay.
18? I
That's
think he
okay.
might have he's an exception to the rule.
Exception to the rule.
But yeah, so then we brought it home and then we assembled it all together. And you see there's some tape on there. I'm still doing the gluing and stuff like that. But yeah, so we glued it all together and that'll go into his little art as project about French stuff.
And this is a watch.
So kind of. So this is the electronics section. So this is called a D-Strike. This say 5-6 years ago. This was a device that I could use to go and turn off all your Wi-Fi in your house
Really?
or a business. Yes.
Okay.
I used this for pen testing, which is called penetration testing in the security industry.
Oh, okay.
And this would allow us to go through and scan a Wi-Fi network, show exploits
On a watch.
on a
like
watch, yeah.
Something on your wrist.
And it is a product that is still used to this day, just maybe not as effective with modern Wi-Fi.
All right.
So this is a badge from a conference I attend. So I attend security conferences. This is a lie detector.
Really?
100%.
Okay.
This is a lie detector. It was
It's a good
produced.
thing I'm telling the truth.
Yeah, there you go. So this was produced by a company called Tor. So Tor is a web browsing anonymizer.
Okay.
Oftentimes people use Tor to access things like the dark web,
Oh.
right? But this, they originally created Tor to allow people in countries that don't have free access to the internet the ability to access the internet.
Oh, okay.
So they are very.
So what does it do? Like you're wearing it around your neck?
No, so this, well, yeah, I'd wear the badge around my neck, but on the badge, there are 2 finger sensors, and one measures your heart rate, and the other one measures the capillary changes in your skin.
What, really?
Yes, so that's how lie
That's
detectors
amazing.
work. Now they're not 100%
And what does it
accurate.
do?
So a lie detector will
If I
measure.
tell a lie, well,
So your skin changes.
okay, no, but does it tell the interrogator?
It doesn't tell the interrogator. It says, hey, there's a variance between what the normal rate was and what this answer to this question was. So I
I
ask you questions that I know are true first.
Okay.
What is your name? Dawn. What color is your hair? Right.
Black.
Where do you work? Right. These kind of questions. Questions we know the answers to. What color is the shirt you're wearing?
Okay.
Right. Then I start asking
Then
you
you start
questions
answer, yeah.
that you might not answer properly. And if I see a variance between those 2 things, I know that there's probably something you're withholding in the other question.
Okay.
So, this is called a Ponagachi. Do you remember back a few years back, maybe 10, 15 years ago, we had Tamagotchis?
Yeah, like there were pets. Or
Yeah, a
something.
little electronic
yeah,
pet.
Yeah.
Same idea, except for
Okay.
what this does is it eats up all the wireless signals.
Oh.
And then I take it home, I can extract the card out of here, and I can work and get all the passwords to all those wireless signals.
That's scary.
It is very scary.
Okay. It's a good thing it's not functioning.
That's right now, it's just sitting there.
Oh,
It's just,
look, it's Thor's hammer.
Yeah. So this is 3D printed. So they're
Really?
moving from the electronics. This is 3D printed. You're
Oh,
very
look,
worthy.
I'm worthy.
So, but yeah, so this was printed on one of those printers in there.
Oh, wow.
Right, and then I weathered it
Could
up
use
and
a
I
little more
aged it.
color.
Yes.
I'm kidding.
This is Han Solo's blaster.
Oh, okay.
Right.
But in my age, it was like 007.
Yeah, there we go. It's almost the same. Here we go.
Okay.
Indiana Jones. It's the fertility idol.
Okay.
From Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Right. And then this was my last year's Halloween
That's
costume.
3D printed as well.
It's all 3D printed.
Oh, Ghostbusters?
This I made.
Okay.
So this is 3D printed, and when we,
The whole thing is 3D printed?
Yeah.
And you just put them together, though. It's so cool.
And if you press that button right there, hold on to it,
Yeah.
give it a press it.
Oh, cool.
There you can let go, and it'll just, but yeah. So then you,
That's the plasma thing.
that's the plasma gun. It shoots out, right? It's got an adjuster for volume and
Well, I
vibration.
can't wait for the lightsaber.
Oh yeah, I know,
Michael.
right? This is exactly it. But So my son and I, we both went as Ghostbusters. I went as a movie Ghostbuster,
Okay.
right? And he went as a cartoon version,
Oh, okay.
right? So, but yeah, so these are all sorts of props. This is what drew me to makerspaces and
This
making.
is so wonderful. It's so creative, educational.
And it's just a place where we can come and we can do the things we enjoy. So I enjoy this. Like I said before, I have people who come in and do sewing. I'm not a big sewer, but that's what they... It even turns itself off. Don't have to worry about the batteries. But yeah, so I have people who make video games. I have people who want to do
So
sound
this has
design.
batteries?
This one here, this has, it's drawing power right now from that TV.
Oh, okay.
But it'll turn itself off, so.
A few weeks ago, I came here and there were people doing some artwork with paper mache or whatever.
Yes, the octopus.
Yeah, the octopus.
They're gonna be back.
Okay.
I don't have a date yet, formal date.
Is the octopus completed already?
Not yet.
Okay.
The final part of the makerspace is the economic development benefit. So
Okay.
when we think about makers, we oftentimes get lost in the idea of just making something silly. Proton pack, Han Solo's blaster, right? It's not all about that. It's about the economic development. So each one of these offices here is an extension for a maker that wants to come in and utilize the facilities we have, but also wants to start to build a business.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I have community development programmers. So guys who are working on community development projects, they're utilizing our CNC machine to do topographical mapping
Oh, okay.
of environments so that they can be able to make architectural renderings when they're presenting them to community development
Oh,
forums.
wow.
I have one person using it as a coding environment. So they're doing their programming or coding, and they're sharing it with somebody who's doing pottery.
Oh, okay.
Why not, right? I have
Why
an
not?
artist that is digitizing their portfolio of artworks so that they can bring it to a wider market, right? And then in the other room, we have people who are doing streaming or Twitch streaming, or Twitch streaming,
yeah.
or doing YouTube shows.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and then one
more
of
or
the
less
offices,
my
one of the
line.
offices right now is currently storage.
Okay. And the
So this is the classroom and the facilitation space.
facilitation space.
And the
okay.
wonderful thing about having a space like this wide open space, is that a classroom and facilitation space means that if you have a special skill, or the people at home have a special skill, they can come down to the makerspace and host a class. Now, part of the deal is that when you host a class, you can charge what you want, right? So you wanted to charge $20 for your class, right? And you got 10 people to show up to your class. You just made $200. Now, we would like classes to be approximately an hour and a half long. People tend to get bored after that hour and a half, 2 hours.
Well, they can take a break and then
they can take a break, but yeah,
get
the
second
reality is that's like, $20 is not a bad deal. The way that Makerspace gets paid for that is that we offer a discount to our members,
Oh, I see.
right? So our members can get a 10% discount for taking classes. In addition to that, we only charge a facilitation fee based on a percentage of your class fee.
Oh, okay.
So if you have two
It's
people,
not a flat rate.
no, because then you
It's-
risk losing
yeah,
money, and that's
okay.
no fun to you. So if you have 2 people or 20 people, it doesn't matter to us. We're taking a percentage
Yeah,
of
you're
the class fee, and then that way,
Which is what, 20%,
it's
30%?
about 25% right now.
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
which is a wonderful
Very fair,
deal, right?
yes.
And it allows people to come in and host classes and kind of get that experience. And we really want to encourage young people to come in, because you can come in and host a class on, say, Snapchat. Well, it kind of sounds silly. Why? Who's going to take a class on Snapchat? Parents of preteen kids. I'm absolutely serious about this,
Yeah,
Don, because
absolutely.
if you have a preteen kid who's begging you, I want to get Snapchat, all my friends got Snapchat, as an adult or a parent to that person,
I tried Snapchat. It's not
you
for me.
want to make sure you understand how it works beforehand. Why not have a high school kid come in and teach you?
Yeah, there you go.
Especially they know a lot about it, right? And it gives everybody a chance to be a teacher and a learner.
That's right.
Yeah, awesome.
And ultimately, a maker, a
And
creator.
a creator, that's it.
And now we're stepping into
Okay.
the room